Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Conscious Conversations with Jay. Who's Jay? That's me. Really lovely to have you guys on board. And we are creating here a hub for healing and personal spiritual development, which just makes my heart sing. And one of the ways we are doing that is by speaking to awesome people that I feel have great insight and wisdom to share to help you with your conscious evolution. And I am very pleased to have my friend here, Catherine Cronin. I saw, but it's like, I'm not calling you Catherine. I'll stick with Kat. I've got my
Okay.
friend here, Kat. And I've known Kat for probably 3 years now, I'd say. In fact, we had the same mentor for some time. And I'm really pleased to have Kat on the show. She loves the planet. She has a beautiful, beautiful heart. And the last 12 months, from my perspective, Kat, have been really, really big. And I've watched you, well, I've watched you for all 3 years just be so consistent with getting through stuff, big stuff. You've come through so much adversity. I know quite a bit about your journey, and you've come through so much adversity and challenge. And it's been quite inspiring to watch you just meet the darkness and meet all these things and just keep on going. It's really been quite beautiful. And I feel the last 12 months, or specifically the last 3 months, really, I feel like some of the results from all of your efforts you've put in for so long are starting to show on the ground. And you've got a few businesses which are starting to kick off. And you're running a meditation. Is this right? Where you're getting over 100 people sometimes at your meditation?
Yeah. It's I'm not the only draw card, but yes, I am getting, there's like 160 people coming now, and it started off real small and it's growing, but it's an awesome, it's really, really beautiful to have that just growing, that consistency and
Yeah.
more people coming, and yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and that for me, that's a sign of you just stepping into place and getting stuff into place and things starting to work. So it's amazing. I'm really, really interested to hear more about your story and what makes you tick. So I just want to start off with, who are you, Miss Cat? Tell the world who you are.
Um, it just makes me smile. Like, who am I? It's like most days if it's all right to say in my language, I don't fucking know. I'm just beginning again. It's the morning, and it's
Yeah.
time to see who am I. Okay, and I'm practicing being limitless love. Like, it's like I'm gonna practice this, and then everything else keeps coming up that's not that. So that's a really good practice. But I guess uh, I'm an artist. I
Hmm.
started off as an artist, and I'm a spiritual teacher, and I am I'm doing my best to share what it is that I've been learning over the last years. Like, really, I guess, who am I? I'm doing my best just to stay with myself and, as best I can, reparent and
Hmm.
have a go at and stepping into a bit more of who I am and what I can be. And yeah, it's just I am the journey of, like, I am the journey of trauma recovery, or of, I don't know, like, not that I am, I'm that. It's like I'm thriving now,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I'm also unraveling and still working
Hmm.
with, so there's that,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, who am I? I'm Kat Cronin. I work with mostly women, some men as well, and encourage ones to really get to know who they are from their own heart, that real unique expression of their own knowing, and kind of get in touch with that, and to build that relationship, because that relationship gets real skewy, and has
Mm.
done, in my experience, has been like, I've always felt very pulled by my heart, but but I haven't always had that compass like really clear. So that's
Yeah.
something that I work with, and the ones I work with, I have a little. school, and I do art and alchemy, art and transformational stuff, and then
Hmm.
a few different projects, Gaia's Heartbeat, and yeah, a few things happening, which is pretty cool. But mostly I'm just figuring it out as I go and giving it my best shot to use that, share it, you know,
Yeah.
use that
Yeah,
experience and share
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen that firsthand, Kat, how it's your as you learn and grow from that, you're sharing that with the people that you work with, which is beautiful. And I've seen some photos on Facebook of your last workshop, which just looked amazing, just the setup. And I know the return to sacredness is a big thing. I know you have such a love and connection with nature and the planet. As you guys heard, one of Kat's businesses, if you want to call that, is Gaia's Heartbeat, and also a return to sacredness. So I know that's big in you, Kat. I just know that the connection with nature is big, and sacredness is big to you. Tell us a bit more about that. What is this return to sacredness thing? What does sacredness mean to you? And how important is that?
It's like, yeah, great. It's like the biggest question that's ever come at me. Thank you. Thank you for bringing it. It's a pleasure to work with you. Yeah. So I guess in a way, Gaia's Heartbeat, as the newer thing that's coming through, and that return to sacredness, it's like I didn't. I guess I didn't really understand that um people, and ones in like ones that I was working with, and like that they didn't realize um that Gaia was ensouling the planet, like that this planet was alive, that there's actually a heartbeat
Mm,
and a an aliveness to this rock that's hurtling through space, kind of thing. And I guess I guess that's been a huge part of who I am as I've been going. That connection with Gaia and with nature has been really strong, as I've been growing up and all the way through. It's like you go into nature and the beauty of that. And I think that return to yeah, I didn't realize people didn't know, and then they would come to the meditations or come to my different things, and they'd come and cry, and like I heard Gaia's Heartbeat, or things like that. And
mm,
it's not it's not like, oh, I'm special and they do that when they're with me. It's not that. It's that talk. People are like, I didn't know it was something that's alive, and I am
mm,
it, and it is me. Like
mm,
I'm made up of this beautiful planet.
mm,
Therefore, like, oh, therefore, I am like consciously connected with this being that's so much bigger than I am. And if I take a
mm.
breath, I can breathe. Like, it's probably going a bit out there, but if I take a breath, I can breathe with Gaia. I can breathe with nature. I can
Yeah.
lean
Yep.
into a big tree and know that I'm part of something bigger. If when I can't feel that, when I'm not feeling that, I
Yep.
am part of something bigger. And that's kind of a lot to do with that Gaia's Heartbeat, being part of something greater, and that recognition of, oh my God, the God in me,
Mm. Yeah.
these feels, whatever it is, that sacredness in front of me, that
Mm.
beauty of the aliveness and the life force that is the planet or nature or life, me, all of us, like fucking so cool. Like it's just that
Yeah.
recognition happening.
Yep.
And I wanted to, I just like, fuck, people don't recognize that. Oh, that's really my favorite thing to do. Let's do that.
Mm.
Like, it felt a bit
Yeah.
inspired to keep going with that and just share it like mad.
Yeah.
Like
I
share it all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel it's so important in this modern day and age where a lot of our society and culture is just caught up in screen time, Kat, and there is
Yeah,
often so much disconnection from the planet. And yeah, she is alive. And I feel for a lot of people, that experience when if they have that with you, a lot of people would be like, oh, wow, having this, I can't believe that the planet is alive. It also feel like a lot of people, it would be a remembering for them, because
absolutely.
so often as children, we're so connected to nature and we feel that oneness and that love naturally. Yet systematically, as we grow up, unless you're a really, really unique soul and you can really stay awake and keep your wits about you and not buy into all the bullshit on the planet, most of us shut that sensitivity down and shut that connection down. So I feel it's just such great work that you're doing, helping people to connect. It just feels to me when you're sharing there, you're helping people to connect deeply with their self. You did mention the God within, and also that namaste experience of divinity in me, truth in me, love in me, honor, greet, respect, that in you. And it's not just other human beings, it's absolutely the earth, this beautiful earth, which is absolutely a living and breathing beautiful being. So great work,
Yeah.
and I feel it's really important, Kat.
Yeah, it feels like I'm being useful. You know, when you're like, yeah, that's useful. That's a useful contribution. And um that reconnection with self or whatever, you know, as you say, it's a remembering. You know, it's like, oh,
Mm.
I remember this. I remember when, you know, I was literally unstoppable. I loved every bloody thing. And I, you know, like if you look at me as a kid, you know, I'm in the garden or I'm in wherever, and I'm like loving the trees and I'm talking to the fairies because that's very normal in Ireland. You know, like you just, you know, it's so in love, you know,
Yeah.
and because that's all available and you're so supported by that, you're very much, there's no, you can't be separate, and that's quite cool. And even if it's a remembering, that's a 5 minute remembering, and then sometime during the week, you know, you're drinking a cup of tea and you have a, you know, you remember again, or you can come back to that. I
Mm.
think it's just useful. Very, it's actually, it sounds, you know, huge, and maybe it is, but it's very, it can be very grounded in its, you can have a really grounded approach with that, you know, just to like, you know what, every time I take a sip of water today, everyone drinks water mostly, you know, it's like every time I take a sip of water, I'm just going to drink down and remember within myself, you know, I'm
Mm.
just going to pour love into myself, or I'm just going to remember Gaia's heartbeat, remember I'm part of something greater, or whatever, you know, whatever
Mm.
you need to in that moment. It can just be little stacking
Yeah.
something. Every time you go to
Yeah.
the loo, you just stack it up, you know, do, you know, the
Yeah.
little things like that can be really helpful, really
Yeah.
powerful.
And doing those little things all day, they build up. It's often we hear, and I share, and we hear on this show and classes is, and things that we're doing is that every drop counts. You know, that if you
Yeah.
reconnect, you take the time to reconnect with yourself, with Gaia's heartbeat, whatever works for you during the day. If you do that once more today than you did yesterday, eventually in 12 months time, you're really overflowing with this connection that you
Yeah.
didn't have before, and that's real transformation. So that consistency is really key
Yeah,
there with
just
all that.
building it up and building it up. And because it's like, because Gaia has that very mothering and
Mm.
energy, you know, like it kind of it almost in those connection moments, it can encourage you to remember to mother yourself, you know, to reparent,
Mm.
to be with
Yeah.
yourself. And that's been a
Yeah.
huge part of my journey, is the like reparenting, being what's needed in the moment when I'm, you know, when there's other stuff happening, you know. So it's just, yeah, that it's just, yeah, it's invaluable, that mothering connection, you know, because
Oh,
we
yeah.
all have all sorts of experiences with that. And then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
here's a big mama, you know, she's gonna, like, she's
Yeah.
got me, and we can really
Yeah.
ground and be, you know, deeply grounded with her, and that's quite cool, you know. Yeah. Anyway.
And have that beautiful communing, that relationship you can form with her, which
Yeah.
is a wonderful thing. So that's awesome, Kat. I'm curious to know about a bit more about your upbringing, because you mentioned when you were a youngster,
Oh,
just being free in the garden and loving everything. I'm just curious, were you one that stayed connected? Did you fall asleep? Did you go unconscious to some degree? What was your experience? What has been your experience growing up to get you to this point?
yeah, well, that's really cool. That's like a boom, there's a journey, you know. Um, yeah, I definitely I felt very connected when I was little, and I was actually, in lots of ways, very encouraged in that, just in the environment
Yeah.
I was in. Like
Yeah.
my mum definitely was like into the garden, and should go down and talk to the fairies, and it was actually, I know that it sounds daft, but it was a very Irish way. But in other ways they would cut that off, like,
Uh-huh.
because I was I was I could I was quite connected. I could hear, I could kind of had to, I guess I had a feeling sense of a lot of what was going on energetically around, and I remember my mum was probably, oh, what are you saying that on to, but I remember one time, I wasn't well, and I was hearing all this, just beautiful sound, energy, and whatever. And I was like, oh, can you hear it? Can you hear it? Like, as a kid, so excited. And she was like, we're going to have to get the Garda. If you're telling lies, so there was that other
Yeah.
shut you down, don't be
Yeah.
bullshitting kind of stuff as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But the connection with the nature, I definitely kept up. But I was very aware very soon from school and things like that, that I was gonna need to do some things differently to fit
Yeah.
in. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess I probably did. I quietened things down, and I squashed things down a bit. But
Yeah.
I don't think I hid it completely from me, which is something
Yeah.
that was good.
Wonderful.
Or at
Yeah.
least, to a certain degree anyway. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So within all that, what do you feel has been your biggest challenge in life? I know you're a qualified mentor and coach and you're doing this work. What has been what's been your biggest challenge? Because I know it hasn't been easy for you. What do you feel the biggest challenge has been for you growing up and just living this life, Kat?
Yeah, I feel like I've had significant trauma through, early years, like, all the way through. And I feel like the challenge, like the biggest challenge for me has often been, it's like I come in and I'm talking about fairies, but I've lived, I've had a lot of life experience, and a lot of heavy life experience as well, as can happen. And my biggest challenge, I feel, has been holding hope beyond the moment,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
because a lot of the dynamic of trauma recovery, or things come back to greet you when you have the containment to hold that. So as you heal, as you get around the right people, and all of that kind of stuff, you become ready for these things to bubble up. And I became
Mm,
ready, like in the last few years, I
mhm,
got ready, I got,
mm,
so well cared for in my relationship. I changed my relationships, and I've been working in a mentoring center, or with you guys, and all of that. So it's just been so helpful. But it's been holding hope beyond the moment, and the things that have, it's like the things that help me to do that when trauma's coming up. I'm not the trauma, but I
mm,
feel like, I feel like a crazy
mm,
woman, or I'm having these responses, or I'm doing embarrassing things that are, I want to shut,
mm.
I want to um, shut people out or keep myself safe, but I'm not sure why I'm doing it in the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that comes up with trauma, that you can feel like you're a bit, you're losing your mind, or you can feel a whole lot of stuff that's not, it's not the truth,
Yeah,
but it can really knock you around, and in your trust with self. And so a
yeah.
lot of my thing has been keeping that trust with self as I let
Mhm,
this trauma move through and heal, um,
mhm.
and knowing there's going to be more of it, and it's okay. Like, it's not, I'm thriving, and there's this, um, yeah, and there's a lot to move through. So yeah, holding hope in those moments when you're like, Jesus, this is a lot.
Yeah,
Is it going to keep coming? Am I going to be able? Is this,
yeah,
all of that.
yeah. And I heard you say there that it's not like you're thriving and you don't have this stuff. It's like it feels important to share that you're never there. No, anyone that's saying I'm there, I'm fully this and fully that, I get a bit sus on, because we can all be wiser, we can all be clearer, we can all be more compassionate, we can all be more loving, and we all have more baggage to clear.
Yeah,
There's
always.
there's a
There will be
lot.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so I'm interested to know a bit more about the trauma recovery as a cat. And I heard you saying, well, were you consciously getting yourself ready to face these things, or were you just working on yourself and then all of the stuff that's come back, the trauma stuff that's come back, was that stuff that you had forgotten about and tucked away that was coming back? And then, as you've just worked on yourself and naturally got yourself ready, that stuff started presenting again? Or were you aware, I've got baggage, I know I've got trauma, I've had
Yeah.
these horrible experiences, and I'm going to get myself ready to face these demons? How was it
That
for
is
you?
so, it's just so, so helpful. And I think this is something that I can contribute that actually is really helpful. It's like on Friday, I'd like to sort this trauma out. I've got time between 4 and 6, and I'm ready. It was just so not that. I really appreciate this question though as well, because trauma is this, it's, or, healing, everyone's healing all the time. The journey of life is to come in and heal, right? But so many of us don't really know we're doing it. We're just kind of interested in beginning to do some self-development and beginning to bring more love into our lives and beginning to take better care of ourselves and change our relationships. And we can start setting boundaries and doing all that getting ready stuff. We don't know we're getting
Hmm.
ready.
Hmm.
We're just beginning to, I think initially we want to feel better. So we're like, I just want a better life. I'm going to do all this self-care stuff and all of this self work on self, and stuff starts to come up. But from my experience, I had maybe rose tinted glasses on, or whatever it is, but like I had suppressed a whole load of stuff
Hmm.
um, throughout my experience, and I had normalized a lot of stuff because I was in a certain, like in different stages of my life, I was in a melting pot or in a marinade of certain way of being. So I didn't know better was available. I didn't know if someone was like this with me, that there was actually a better option, or,
Sure.
stuff like
Because you're
that.
in
Like you
it.
don't know till you
Yep.
actually experience a greater expansion of, oh, whoa, this is available. So many of my clients now, it's like, I didn't realize that this was available. And then the next thing. So yeah, I didn't, to the answer, I suppose, shorter answer to your question is I didn't know what was going to come up. And it really, I think it's really important for people to hear as well. Like I didn't know what was coming up, and I also, um, if I had a known beforehand, I might have tried to keep it not to come up. There's a lot to
Yeah.
it. That kind of, like I'm not that kind of, like I just go for things. Like I'm not that kind of person, but I can understand why we distract ourselves, why we need all the just the different things in our lives, and
Yeah.
the go and the moving, because you don't necessarily choose it, but I choose it. I want to heal, but I didn't. Yeah, I had a whole load of stuff coming up, and and I felt quite destabilized, because
Yes.
things that I thought were um absolute truth, relationships that I had, you know all of these kind of pillars of my life were actually not true. They weren't real. And it's like, I now know this. I can choose to just completely shut it all down, or, or I can get into it and clear it and be better for the experience, which is what I chose to do. But it's just like, you know, it's it's quite something. And I think when people are in that journey, like it's good to know your stuff's going to come up. You keep making yourself a safe space, your stuff's going to come up, and there's tools for that, and there's support for that, and it's fucking it. wonderful experience to move through. And then nothing can be left in the subconscious, because it's, if it's okay, I keep cursing, but nothing can mess with you, nothing can fuck with you if you can see it, if you can look it in the eyes and go, whoa, that happened, or oh, that was the
Mm.
case. So you're really empowering your inner, you're really letting yourself become who you truly are. And by knowing things and letting them become conscious, we do empower ourselves. And it's like, that can't knock me around. And it is, you say, oh, well, it wasn't messing with me until I discovered, until I uncovered it. But it was messing
Under
with
the
every
surface.
choice you were making. Every aspect of your life was being influenced by these undersurface things without you being aware. And then you become aware and you're like, okay, well, now I can at least choose to work through it. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That was a big talk there. Sorry, it just came. Um,
Brilliant. Brilliant, Kat.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. It's those unconscious things and the things that we are scared to look at that are pulling the strings behind the scenes. And no matter what we want to make ourselves believe, if you've got unresolved stuff running unconsciously and in the background, unhealed stuff that you haven't dealt with, you're still judging for whatever reason, absolutely that's influencing every choice that you make. It's filtering through all your behavior and everything. So I'm just hearing a real sense of courage there. And I loved what you were sharing there, Kat, when you said if you can look at it, if you can face it, and we're talking about experiences you may have had in your life which have been traumatic, just issues, if you have the courage to really face those things and look at those things, they can no longer have power over you. And that's the self-empowerment that you were talking about, which I feel is a wonderful thing. And making everything that's running unconscious conscious, so you can genuinely have the reins of your own life, truly have the reins, and start co-creating with life instead
yeah,
of half creating, because you've got all this baggage pulling strings here, but you want this, but they're like no, because of all these fears and all of that sort of stuff. It can be quite messy.
absolutely. Yeah, and you know that thing that comes up often with your clients or with whatever, wherever, I always blah blah blah. I never da da da. I'm always creating shitty relationships, or I never da da da. And it's like, that's the stuff, that subconscious stuff, probably, most
Yeah.
likely,
Yeah.
that you're not acknowledging. You're just seeing the kind of the outcome. It's like we put stuff out into the universe,
Hmm.
and ask for this. And what I'm onboarding more and more recently is like, I definitely create my own reality. I'm like, yes, I get it. We create our own reality. But what it's like, I'm putting stuff out and it's like, oh, but I'm getting back not quite what I asked for. It's like, that's not quite what I
Yeah.
said. I said I wanted this, and this, and I'm getting, and it's like, well, now it's like, okay, take the feedback. What are you really putting out for? What's in there that needs healing, so that you actually get the response from the universe that you want, that you actually manifest what it is that that your heart knowing knows you want to manifest, you want
Yeah.
to bring into your life. So it's cool. It's such an interesting journey, just taking responsibility as well. Like, I create my reality, and I can heal this, and I can, you just like, here I am, like,
Yeah.
come at me.
Yes.
Well, not really,
There's
but
there's such hope in what you're sharing there, Kat, because I meet a lot of people who really feel broken, who have been through horrendous things. And let's face it, planet Earth isn't a hub of enlightenment and compassion and unconditional love. There's a lot of nasty stuff out there. And good-hearted, decent people, they get hurt a lot of the time. And there's a lot of healing that needs done with that. So absolutely, what you're sharing there is all brilliant, and it's wonderful that you have that that you're doing this work. And it reminds me of something that Jung said, something along the lines of, when we heal from an issue, we send out these invisible letters to everybody else that hasn't healed from that issue yet. And then once you work through that, then you're inviting all these people to come and work with you because you've resolved this issue. So you've talked a bit about trauma, Kat. I'm wondering, for people out there, what do you feel is the most helpful quality or behavior that you've cultivated to deal with trauma that's coming up for you?
I was going to say it's to stay.
Mm.
And
What's that mean? Share with us what that means to you, staying.
I guess the natural response has already been to the trauma. The natural response has been to get the fuck out of there, to get away from
Mm.
it, to
Yeah.
get away, whatever, by any means possible, or whatever. It can be that, and then courage is the quality, I would say, the courage to stay. And it's that, it's,
Mm.
for me personally, I don't know, about everybody's experience of this, but mine will be, get get a hold of myself, get my hands on my heart where I can feel that I'm here,
Mm.
and and the staying is, it's like that commitment to your you're committing to that beautiful heart that you have, that no matter
Mm.
what, no matter what comes up here, I'm staying with you,
Mm.
like that child, or you know if uh, if you're yeah, if you're going to bring a kid swimming for the first time or whatever, and they're like, they're completely like, don't want to go near the water. They got their, they've kind of got your hair all in a, like they're holding on for dear life,
Yeah.
white knuckle riding, and you're gonna, it's that thing, like, I'm gonna stay, and we're going in, and you're gonna be okay.
Mm.
So it's,
Nice.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes sense, but it's
Y-
like, I'm staying with you, I'm reassuring you, and we're going in here. We're gonna look, we're
Mm.
gonna see what's here, and I'm staying. There's nothing that will make me let go of you. We're going in,
Mm.
and then it's the staying with that, and then moving it through. Yeah, hope that's helpful.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Kat. And I'm hearing and seeing such a determination in you there just when you were sharing. It's like, we're doing this and I've got you. And you mentioned already earlier about parenting self, reparenting self. And has that been, well, you have mentioned that that's been a big part of your
Yeah,
process. And just watching you there, and you talking about the child, it just felt like a reparenting process that
absolutely.
you,
Yeah, it's like, it's reparenting. I mean, I have some lovely parents, but I also missed out on things that I need to reparent, and it's that reparenting of, like, I don't know if any of us, and us being so sensitive and whatever else, is like, could we ever have had a parent that could have, like,
Mhm.
met this level of love or
Yeah.
whatever? Um, and so, yeah, it's just, yeah, that thing of, like, looking back at yourself like the parent, I've got you. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing that's going to make me let go
Mm.
of you. Yeah, that reparenting and
Mm.
determination, yeah, to stay
Yeah,
and
and the
move it through, not
courage.
wallow, but stay and
Yep.
then move it through. Yeah. The courage.
Yeah, nice. Nice one. That's brilliant, Kat. And I just I feel to come back to the sacredness thing there, because everything that you're sharing there has a degree of reconnecting with sacredness. You're talking a lot about your heart. And with regards to the planet herself, because it sounds like, well, it is, she is a big part of your life. That relationship is a big part of your teaching and what you're sharing. How do you feel about the old growth forests being chopped down and some of the environmental stuff that's going on the planet? I'm just curious to know, with such a connection with her and with nature, I'm just wondering your experience and feelings with that.
Yeah, thank you. That's, yeah, like, even just you saying it, I'm like, oh, I can just feel that. Yeah, like a, yeah, it's really, it's a really interesting kind of a reflection of what's happening. It's like the old growth forests would hold, all but snuffed out. It's like they would have held such wisdom, and um, have witnessed such life and have so much like, sacredness. like that, like,
Mm,
you know, it's like when I consider what is happening in our world in the bigger picture, like it would be so amazing if we could just, you know, all just up our game a little bit more, you know, or even a lot more. And like we're losing some of the greatest and most beautiful leaders. Our older people held something for us and they're dying. You know, the like in our communities, that kind of thing. So it just feels like yeah, the old growth forest and what's happening, it's like this it's like a dismissal of what is sacred. You know, like
mm,
let's dismiss
mm,
that. We've got things to do and I'm too busy for it. Yeah, I'm too busy to sit and stay. And so it's like it's the opposite. You know, soon enough everyone's going to realize we need to reconnect. You know, we
mm,
actually we actually need to upgrade the qualities that we're holding and the depth of experience. And yeah, I'm not sure, I'm probably going around a bit there, but it's around in a bit of a circle. But yeah, it just feels like we're prizing the desecration of what is sacred. I know that sounds like big language to use, but it's like we're putting above anything else our progress and our need to make money and da da da, you know,
mm.
whatever. Progress, yeah, let's
Yeah,
be
yeah,
productive. Like, you know, there's ways to do that that consider, you know, the universal principles that consider gratitude, appreciation, humility, you know, the nurturance of all life, like that, not just our own in this 5 minutes. Like, how about
yeah,
our, you know, it's just that thing of like, what about the eternal journey? Like,
yeah.
like we get to we get a stewardship over the land that we're living on, and we get to hand it over to the next generation and the next generation and the one after that. And like, what are we handing them if we're not holding sacred the old growth
Mm,
in all of the ways old growth is, you know, like
yeah,
in
yeah,
the master teachings and in all of that and in our forest. But yeah.
yeah. The reason I asked that, part of the reason, Kat, is because I just feel it's all connected. You were sharing so beautifully about reparenting yourself and reconnecting and meeting the trauma, and you talked of courage and all of this stuff. And I feel just a big part of the disrespecting of nature, and completely understandable, no judgment there.
Yeah.
But I mean, stupid to cut down the old growth forests. I can say that without judgment. Maybe a little bit of judgment, like it's fucking stupid. I feel it's all connected, connected with this disconnection, a lack of
Yeah.
connection, a lack of connection with life, a desensitization of people on mass scale, and people just forgetting love, forgetting gentleness, forgetting
Yeah.
some of these ancient ways and community and these things, because it is very fast paced. There are concrete jungles. It is busy, 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 money, 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 me, and so many people are just caught up in that with the blinkers on and forgetting this amazing reality that we're gifted to be living with a borrowed body from the planet. As you said at the start, it's made out of earth stuff, the minerals. She's gifted
Yeah.
us this to use. And what a beautiful planet that we live on. It's so diverse. And if you really have a look, it's just exquisite. And because of this disconnection and just the way things are on planet Earth, it's wonderful that people like you are doing what you're doing. And also, it's that reconnection as well with the spirit and the soul that we are, which is actually indwelling this body and using this body as a vehicle. You talked about the eternal journey, and yeah, it comes back to, as you're sharing, just in my own heart, Kat, it just comes back to this lack of connection and a deep-seated selfishness that seems to be very pervasive on the planet, and human beings getting really caught up in just what they want and what they need in the moment without this, I guess, awareness of upcoming generations, the fact that if we don't treat the earth well, she'll die and we won't have a place to live anymore. There's just so much wrapped up in it. So it
Yeah.
feels just really connected, just your healing journey and facing the trauma and reparenting, disconnection, return to sacredness. So it just all feels connected. I keep saying connected because we need
Connected.
to be more connected.
Yeah, essential part. Yeah, that's beautiful. Absolutely. And I would, I feel like when we, like back with Hitler and all blah blah blah, right? We what do you do if you want to um completely obliterate something? You dehumanize it, you take away the fact that it's supposed to have life or whatever, like, so if that's making sense. It's like we as in the human race, like we dehumanize people and then we take advantage of them, or and we can also do that with the planet. People have decided that the planet is this dead rock, well then we can do whatever hell we want to the planet,
Yeah,
so it's like we can kind
yeah,
of really take the connection away from it, and then we can do what we
yeah,
want. And it's like,
yeah,
no, actually, let's just have a go at reconnecting, going the other way.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as although there is a lot of stuff happening on the planet which probably isn't for the highest and best good of all concerned, there is absolutely beautiful people on the planet
Yeah.
waking up and reconnecting, and yeah, there is a surge of people doing that, which is wonderful. And how is anything going to change unless we be the change? We talk about this reality, which a lot of people laugh and they're like, "That's a bloody fairy tale, mate." When we talk about harmony and unity and all of this sort of stuff, it's like, well, shut the God, what is that? That's just some fairy tale in a book, but it's really not. Because if we look at the planet, if we look at everything that's going on the planet, the only disharmony on the planet is the human beings, because nature works just beautifully and harmoniously. And I see us really, Kat, as caretakers. Well, you said we take stewardship of the earth, and we're meant to be caretakers of her. But again, because of disconnection with self, you were talking a lot about reconnecting with the heart, reconnecting with the God within. And because there's a lack of that, then of course people aren't going to see the beauty, the value, and the life that is everywhere and all around them. So nothing's going to change unless we change. Also, I'm going to throw that in there because there's a lot of people out there that really think, what can I do? But it's the simple people living ordinary lives and doing their best to make that extraordinary, which just means to me is reconnecting with sacredness, bringing love to everything that you do, and just being the best version of yourself and being the change that you honestly feel in your heart is needed in the world, really embodying that. So I just love it, Kat. Go you, everything you're doing. It's amazing.
Oh,
Do you want to build on that before I ask you another question?
oh, we got more. No, I was just it's just cool. It's exciting. It's like when you touch on, like, there's so many people like waking up wanting to, like, it literally is like you can feel, and like it's such a change
Mm,
in there's so many ones that they're like, I want to get busy, I'm not sure what to do. And I love what you said. It's just that, just reconnecting, living simple life, being, choosing to connect with sacredness, enjoy the beauty, that's part of it. It's like part of the stuff. We don't all have to be, um I don't know, doing all
on a
sorts of
world
crazy
stage.
big, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Ordinary people living extraordinarily. What a beautiful thing. And we need more of that. And I just feel to throw in here as well, a lot of people that are like, yeah, yeah, I want to make a difference in the world and I want to heal and do all this stuff. A lot of people aren't aware that when you say you want to heal, what that actually means is what you shared at the start, Kat. You're like, oh, I'm doing my thing. I want to maybe feel better and live a better life, aligning to what I feel is a higher, clearer, brighter version of self. When you say, I want to heal, I want to be a better version of myself, then the universe goes, oh, great. Life goes, oh, great. Here's all the stuff that you need to heal. that can be traumatic. It's not just a walk in the park. And that's why you need the courage, and it's through that journey of healing from all of the things that we haven't been able to look at yet. It's through that journey that develops our character, where we can be someone that makes a difference in the world. So it's really important to put that out there, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's meant to be all love and light all the time. I'm meant to feel good. You were just sharing before, Kat, that sometimes there's just so much, and you've cultivated this ability to stay, and how important just staying is, because it can get hectic when things are coming back home to be healed, because you're ready, because you've got yourself ready, you've got the courage, you've got the ability to love in a way that you couldn't whenever you experience that trauma.
Heal or heal thyself, right? Heal or heal thyself. And
Absolutely.
then yeah, and then the next is we can help, we can heal.
Yeah. So anyone watching this, if you feel called to move into service work and healing, I would encourage you all to do that, because that's how things are going to change collectively on the planet. Now, Miss Kat, I'd like to know, if you had the ability,
Go on.
let's tell me, if you had the ability to implement one global law that somehow people didn't have free will and they could say yes or no to it. If there was one law that you could create and naturally everybody just abided that law, what would it be?
I was just laughing at the power, but never mind. That's not happening now. I I guess I guess it's kind of a funny one. I think if there could be one law, I reckon it would be really helpful if we got our politicians and anyone who was stepping into a position of power or leadership, if by law they had to do an interpretive dance to declare their love to the planet. Um, I think that would be really bloody useful. And I know it sounds a bit daft, and I am an artist and whatever, but it's like, that would, you got to have humility. You got to be okay with making a fool of yourself. You've got to be actually in tune with your creativity. You got to, there's a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
things
yeah,
that would have to happen for that
yeah,
and
yeah.
also you have to, yeah, you have to be okay with looking like a fool, because that's really it's, I feel like in our leadership it's really important that like, I love a leader that can just own up. I didn't do a good job this first time around, I'm going again. I'll, do my best, or whatever, like but yeah, maybe declaring love to the planet, I think, would be really
Mm.
helpful in interpretive dance. The end.
Yeah, yeah, nice. And people there to make sure that declaring their love for the planet is real. So no
Yeah,
lies, no
yeah.
lies about it. So declaring their love. Man, I feel like what a wonderful thing to have all leaders not only loving the planet, but declaring it through interpretive dance to
Yeah.
the whole world. Okay. Yep. Now you can be in charge.
That should be a law, right? Like,
Yeah. Hey, you've got the power. I don't. You're setting the
and
laws right here.
and it's that, like, real humanity, like
Yeah.
the goofiness of something like that as well, like the playfulness, but yes, but the declaration as well. There's just so
Yeah.
much in it.
Yeah.
I know it's a daft thing to say, but I actually think it would be useful. I think it
Yeah.
would be a
And
good law.
well, I'm here and there as well, is not take yourself so seriously as well. It's like there, make sure that don't take yourself so seriously. And just because you're in a position of power doesn't mean that you're better than everyone else and you're not a human being. So there's some humility in there. I hear what you're saying there, Kat. And anyone caring for the planet and dancing to show it is a cool thing. So another question that
Yeah.
I'm starting to ask people uh, who appear on the show towards the end is, if you could only remember one thing, one lesson from this life, if you could only take one lesson, one learning, one thing with you into your next life, what would that be?
You even asked me that. I know. I'm like
Did I?
one thing. I just like um
Mm, one thing.
I
Everything else
think
is erased.
I feel like
So,
if I could remember trust with my intuition, I think
oof.
that would
Mm,
be like, yeah, that would be a
yeah.
really superpower hero thing.
Boom. Yeah, if you can imagine that. Imagine, well, let's go back to the start of this life now, Kat. Imagine
Mm,
if you had the magical wand had been waved and you set that, trust your intuition. How would your life have been different from day one?
yeah. It's like I'm just gonna go do that now. Yes, yes, okay. You know, yeah, like it would be, yeah, significantly changed. It's definitely something I learned. You know, I had a bit as a kid, went off skewy, you know, learned again a bit later, and now it's a lot of what I teach, especially with the creativity, conscious creativity
Yeah.
stuff, you know. Um, coming back to the heart, making sure that's where you know, where you're creating from, but intuitive, like knowing yourself, you know, like really, I just think
Mm.
it would be, yeah, that would be amazing. I'm signing up for that one thing.
I'm wondering if we could just dig a little deeper on that, Cat. And I'm just wondering, how would it, in some really grounded, practical ways, how do you feel things would be different for you, and what would you have done differently if you came in with that full trust, unshakable trust of your intuition, and you meant the know I think you mentioned the knowing of in your own heart. Maybe I just heard that,
Yeah,
but let's just run. Yeah, so
from
full
that
trust of your intuition, knowing of your
knowing
own
of your own
heart.
heart.
What are some clear things and examples that you would have behaved differently or wouldn't have put up with or
Oh,
would have?
there's just so many, but there's definitely, and I often come back to this point when I was, you know, and I put it in my, you know, this is going uploaded to the soul. 'Cause, um, I was moving to, I was moving to London. I just finished in art school, and I was going to London, and I was kind of doing it regardless, and off I trot and big adventure. And my partner at the time was like, I'm gonna come, you know, and
Mm,
and this is not a he's awful and I'm great or anything, but it's that it was a real point of this is where I go back. My intuition said, put a backpack on your back, go and don't stop. You know, just keep
mm,
going. And I feel like at that point
mhm.
I would have started to travel more and yeah, I had a, you know, quite a big career in that all of that. But it was like I was I was ready to go and I was ready to come home to myself then.
Mm,
But
mm,
I think I was 23 or something, you know,
mhm.
23. Right? And it was just that, like, it was like that timing of like, put your backpack on your pack and just go. Like, you
Yeah,
know, like not a disrespectful, but just like, this is your time,
yeah,
just go. You know,
yeah,
you can't come where I'm going and I'm going kind of thing. And I remember
yeah,
like shutting that down and doing the right thing at the time and
yeah.
then
Oh,
building on that.
yeah,
And it just was so many years after, you know, it's just like, oh, there was then, you know,
yeah,
after that, so many more options to do the same thing and not doing it, you know. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Until we finally get it, and you just
yeah,
when you're sharing there, the part of me is like, ah, face to hands, because it's like, how many of us out there override that knowing in
oh,
our heart and the intuition and that quiet whisper, just to people please or to do the right thing. You
yeah,
said that. It's like, no, but my head says this. And it comes back to that reconnection, being
yeah,
connected with self. Because if we had that relationship with self and we're really connected, it's like, oh, my heart's saying this, I feel this.
yeah,
The head's saying, but.
yeah, yeah. And if more of us are, you know, are consciously connected, then all we want for ourselves and for other is for them to follow their hearts knowing, like to even consider doing something to people please or to do the right thing by someone else is like now in my circle and my relationships, like there's only people in them now that would be like listen to your heart. What do you need to do for your greatest good?
Yeah.
Off you trot. Whereas back then it was a lot of that people pleasing, and so if we were all more connected with our own knowing,
Oh,
we would not be holding on to other people's, you know what I mean? We'd just be taking responsibility for our own shit and encouraging everyone else to do the same. The end.
yeah. Yeah. I
Mic
love
drop. I know.
Yeah,
It's just
boom,
like,
the end. You do you, I do me. It's all for the highest and best good. My intuition
yeah.
saying this. And I love the
And
encouragement
I
bit there,
love
Kat.
you. Let's
Yeah,
let you go.
champion.
I
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Yeah, because it's like if we're listening to our heart and there's that singing because we've all got our unique puzzle piece and
Yeah.
purpose. And it's like, I want that for you. I'm doing that. Yeah, I want that for you. It's like, you go, yes, yes, yes. And there's that beautiful
Yeah.
championing of each other because we know that we're all on the path and there's all on our own unique path and journey of discovery. And there's no like holding on and or anything like that. It's just, yeah, I love that because in our hearts, deeply in our hearts, like you said, we do want that. It's like, no, I want you to soar. And that's why I love that Namaste experience, which we also call the holy encounter. And that's just, if we can live from that space, and that is that real, that
Sacredness.
space of sacredness comes back in. Let's say sacred in me meets, greets, honors, loves sacredness
Yeah.
in you. And, you know, and honoring all that sameness, that sacredness in everybody's heart, that jewel in everybody's heart, wrapped up in all these beautiful, unique bodies. But beyond that, there's just that beautiful diamond within all of us. So, yeah,
Yeah. Just like that's all I got
yeah.
is like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That mic's
Yeah.
been dropped. So you can't do much better than that. Yeah, awesome, Kat. Glad we dug a little deeper there. And what do you feel? What's your hope? What is your hope? Well, you've just kind of shared it, really. I was going to say, what's your hope for the future of planet Earth and with humans? Is that what you just shared? That
Yeah.
reality? Is that what you hope for?
Deep connection with self, with our own heart. And then we'll just be in that connection, with
Mm,
Gaia, with each other, uplifting, encouraging, moving toward more of
yeah,
ourselves. It's like, that's it.
yeah,
Like, yeah, that's it. Let's do it.
yeah, yeah,
Let's be
absolutely.
it. Be it. Don't have to
Be
keep
it. Yeah.
doing everything. Let's be it.
Just be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great. What else? While I've got you on here to pick your brains, because I know you've got so much. I mean, you've shared so much brilliant stuff, lots of insight, and I feel just the trials and tribulations again that you've been through have just molded you into this one that's doing this work, and you've got so much to offer people who have gone through great trauma and who are disconnected. What else do you want to share, Kat, while you've got the space and this is going out to millions of people? What would you like to share? This is a question. This is a question. If you could say something telepathically and it would reach every person on this planet and they deeply heard and listened to what you were going to say, what would you say to everyone?
I'd say you are what you've been looking for. Just, I think it's that. It's like nothing's going to fix anything. You are the hope. You are the change. You are it. Like, let's
Mm,
be it. That's it. You are the
mm,
change. I am the change. I'm the change I've been looking for. You're the change. Let's just
mm,
be it. Let's just choose to be it. Yeah,
mm. Nice
I
one.
think.
Nice one, Kat. Well, have you got anything else you want to add to the conversation? We've covered a lot of ground. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
Just, yeah, I'm just like, what? I just yeah, I'm just very grateful. I'm really grateful for you. I'm grateful for like all the ones I've been working with the Cosmosis Mentoring Center, and all, like, it there's an unrecognizable quality about ones I've gotten to work with over the last few years, that that it's just I now know what, I now know what love is, and now I can grow into
Mm,
that. And it's just really helpful. It's just really bloody helpful, and grounded practical tools. Like I just, yeah, I just really appreciate all of that assistance that's been coming my way.
mm.
Very cool.
Well, well, absolutely deserve all of that, Kat, and we all need support, right? And as it's interesting that you're sharing that now, and that's something that we could add on a little bit.
Yeah,
There is how important is building a spiritual family, if you want to call it that, or just a support network around you if you are involved in conscious evolution and healing. How important has the support been for you with that journey?
it's almost all of it. It's like
Mm,
almost every,
mm,
I would say all of the all of the inroads that I've been able to make have been because this container, the
mm,
relationships, the container, the the space I've been held in has been so um yeah, it has been so transformational and encouraging and uplifting. And that kind of,
mm,
working with ones that are like, well, I'm connected, like we were talking about, I'm connected with myself, and I'm only I'm living from hearts knowing. I want you to do the same. It's just
mm,
not, it's not what happens on the street. It's not what's happening
yeah.
out in the world in a lot of ways. And so it's really refreshing, and
Mm,
it's made the world of differences to have that kind of, like I've changed all of the relationships in my life, but to have that containment, and you know I guess to have friends and ones that are on the path, they're actually having a go at moving in the same direction, because it feels often like a lot of the stream of life is kind of like flowing in this direction, and I'm like,
mm.
I'm the river flowing, I'm having a go at staying steady in this like river of, you know, this is what I hear, this is my heart, here's Gaia. Let's stay really steady. And yeah, it's cool just to be around more ones that are aiming at being steady, but also ones that are a few steps ahead that can just
Mm,
share with you what, you just scratching on the surface of something, and someone's had this massive experience with that, and they can actually go, hey, here's some tools, here's what can move you there. It's like grounded practical stuff like that. Just, oh, far out, I didn't even know that was possible. It's not
yeah,
just, you being marinated in a load of encouragement and love, like when the hell do we get that? And then someone that's got the skills ahead of you to say, okay, this is coming your way, are you ready?
yeah,
Let's get you
yeah,
ready. It's just beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And that's exactly what you're doing with the people that you're drawing in with students and in your classes. It's
yeah,
you're holding that space and containment, and you've got through things, and it's like you're handing your hand back to
yeah,
help others up to stand on their own feet. Not doing it for them, but it is that
yeah. And
it is that.
it's that cycle. And like I'm so excited when I see ones getting like into spiritual development, and they're growing, and like I want to see my students be my teacher.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
that thing of like,
yeah,
yes, they're doing the work and encouraging whatever, but it's like when I come back around and all I can remember is hopefully that one thing I'm allowed to have, which is
yeah,
the reconnection
yeah,
with my own heart. Well, I'm
yeah,
hoping these ones coming up now, the younger ones and the ones coming up now, I'm like, on my next go, you're my teacher. I want to fill you with all that I can possibly, so that you're ready to
yeah,
do the next teaching. It's like
yeah,
there's no I need to be better or worse as well. I love that seeing ones coming up now that they're just flying along, and I'm like, go and go way on by where I've got to, and you live
yeah,
bigger, live brighter, get your thing
yeah.
going on. That's quite cool.
Yeah, and isn't that refreshing, Kat? Well, it is refreshing hearing you share that and knowing quite a few people that are living from that space, because we live in a world full of competition and jealousy and tear people down and how dare you? It's like it's all about me and survival. So it
Yeah,
can be just deeply healing to have a support network around you that genuinely care for you and genuinely want to see the best for you,
yeah,
and genuinely champion you, because that can just be deeply healing, because it's rather, unfortunately, it's quite a rare experience in this day and age that we live in. So really lovely and really important, I feel, and I heard you share the same, to have a great support network around us if we're embarking on this healing journey, because it's not all blissy, easy, walk in the park stuff. You're dealing with all the
Yeah,
trauma and the experiences that have stopped you from being all that you can be, and all of that stuff
yeah,
that if that you haven't dealt with, it can be quite dark and quite gnarly. So having a loving support group around you and people is just a wonderful experience.
yeah. And yeah, it is it's like the best thing. And that as we are doing all of that deep like transformational work or like healing work, um if if we can hold hope beyond the moment, like we can
Mm,
really hold like this is, I know where I'm going, I've got I've got the feeling sense, and then that like, oh, and I'm allowed to be joyous as I do it, as I move through all this stuff. Like, I can choose to be joyous as I do it. Like, I think being encouraged in both of those areas, really encouraged to, you know, always hold a hope, and we're choosing
mm,
joy. That kind of like those kind of aspects, often are missed. It's like, oh, I'm going through the deep stuff, and it's like, yes, and my heart is singing as well because I'm choosing
mm,
this, and kind of being encouraged to, for the attitudinal shifts that need to happen with that. Like we
mm,
need to onboard
mm.
skills, and you've got to really kind of work with a different attitude than you might have had out and before you decide
Yeah,
to do this deep work. We've got to get the attitude really steady and really kind of like limitless and uplifting, because otherwise we're going to be in deep trouble. Like, because you can go down, you're getting a lot of heavy stuff coming home. It's really important to hold those couple of qualities and change the attitude. Like, learn how to
yeah,
do that. It's not just something you lick off a stone and then that's it. You've got a great
yeah.
attitude. You got to learn it and then practice it and have ones around you practicing a really good attitude. So
Yeah. We're getting to the end, Cat, but every time you
yeah.
talk, I'm like, oh,
Oh,
there's
sorry.
juice in that,
I have maybe to
which is
stop
great.
talking now.
No,
But
no,
yeah.
no, no, it's good. It's good because,
Yeah.
one thing I love about these episodes, I just want to milk it while you're here. We're live. It's like, now I want to get as much insight as I can. You mentioned choosing joy in amongst all
Yeah.
the stuff coming up. I'm wondering what would be some reasons that you would choose joy. Why would you be joyful that you're in your shit?
'Cause- Because my purpose here is to heal and to move through more and to evolve, right? And to then take life in, whatever life chucks at me, let it feel the frequency of the love that I can possibly bring to it, like bring the love to it, including the joy, and then share that, right? So it's like that to me is so joyous. Like I can't even express how like that is the like it's almost I'm gonna get into that. It's like it's almost addictive. No, it's not. Don't do that, Cat. But it's like it's like there's a real like there's like a tenacity needed, and there's a all of that kind of stuff. But there's a natural joy that comes from doing the work that you were meant to be doing, kind of thing.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
a natural one.
yeah.
And why the hell not? I can just choose it. I'm on this
Mm.
beautiful planet. I'm surrounded, what a time to be alive. It is actually, there's so much, like, there's so much beauty and so much sacredness, and everything's coming back online. Let's just be joyous and encouraging of joy in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, more joy. So the new leaders, because you've implemented a global law, it has to be a
Oh,
joyful interpretive dance, and they're showing off their bloody alignment and love of Gaia. I mean,
yeah.
can there be an interpretive dance that's not joyful?
Well,
Probably.
well,
We'll put that in the
I went to
law.
art school. You can have all sorts of
Oh, yeah,
really
sure.
feel the
Oh,
angst of the planet, which, do you know
yeah,
what? All feelings are valid. All feelings are
yeah.
important to bring. But yes, it could be very joyous. I get you. I can, how can you? I think introducing interpretive dance, it would just be joyous, definitely for the crowd.
Just imagine the politicians. I just had a vision there. It's like before they start their thing in the docks. It's
You know,
like,
like
all right, guys, before, all right, it's time for our interpretive dance before we start the political proceedings today. Oh, that's funny. Good to laugh. And yeah, Kat, when you were sharing there about the joy, it's like we can choose joy and we can find an ember of joy sometimes in the darkest moments because we are healing. And that's what our soul longs to do. And it's joyful because it's like, I'm feeling really bad and dark and crap. And I've got all these memories coming back of horrible things and the ways I've treated myself, the ways that I've been treated. And it feels horrendous. And at the same time, I'm joyful about it because if I feel it and I heal it, then I'm no longer harboring it and taking it with me. So I'm going to transform through this healing and through feeling all this stuff and clearing through it. So absolutely, in amongst all that darkness and the trauma and the healing, we can, with the correct attitude, which you mentioned, which can take some time, we can be quite
yep.
joyful about it. And it's not easy. However, it can be chosen because the heart's singing, because you're releasing and clearing and facing these fears and these experiences which have been hobbling you and holding you back from being that beautiful, radiant soul and heart that you are, that have been standing in between your heart and Gaia's heart and true connection, which so many of us long for. So many human beings are longing for connection, and we have it quite naturally, yet we are in this world that again isn't in these moments esteeming of connection and of unconditional love and community and raising people up. However, you can choose to be that, and being the change that you wish to see is a wonderful thing. So do that, people. I'm not telling you what to do, but do that. The more the more the merrier. The more the merrier.
In your own unique way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you discover your own unique way by looking within, reconnecting, and finding out what's really going on for you and who you really are and what you actually need. What do you reckon, Kat? Feel that's a wrap? Have you got anything else to add?
I'm just like, I don't know. I think we covered quite a bit. Just
Yeah.
great. Thank you. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I guess love wins. The end.
Yes. Yes. Another mic drop. Love wins. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kat. I love you lots and wonderful sharings today. And it's just been awesome watching you grow over the last few years and seeing you, step into yourself more and more constantly. And that's very inspirational. So thank you. And thank you to all of you guys who have been tuning in. Hope it has been of value for you. Lots of love. Stay bright. Remember, never, ever, ever, ever give up. And let's change this planet.